This is Lukadowski of WeAreChange.org, and as we are talking, Bitcoin prices are soaring right now, nearly as high as gold. To talk about this and a lot more, we have Jeff Berwick, the dollar vigilante, on with us to explain what the hell is happening here, what's going to happen in the future with Donald Trump, and also an amazing event that he's putting together in Acapulco, Mexico, called Anarchapulco, that myself and other amazing speakers will be speaking at. We're going to give promo codes at the end of this video to explain how you could get there and all the amazing workshops taking place there as well. Now, Jeff, how are you and what is happening here? I know you've been telling people to invest in Bitcoin when it was, what, $30? Now the people who listen to you must be extremely happy.
Yeah, it was actually $3 in 2011. That's when I first started covering it. And when I first found out about it, I was super excited. It's the first real free market money, aside from gold and silver, of course, but it's actually much more usable in today's digital age. And it can't be controlled by governments or central banks. So I began covering it immediately in 2011 at $3, made many millionaires for subscribers of the Dollar Vigilante. And of course, even last summer, I covered it very heavily when it was around $200. And I said, this is your second chance to buy into it. And it's been soaring ever since. Of course, 2 years ago it was about 200. About a year ago it was about 400. About 6 months ago it was about, or actually a month ago it was about 800. It's now over 1,100, breaking all-time highs in every currency, actually every currency now, except for the US dollar, which is just about to break, might even happen today. And it's really in reaction to what's going on with the central banks and the indebted governments around the world. The US government is now just about to break $20 trillion in debt, going up massive amounts just constantly. Of course, we have Donald Trump just about to come in. That's causing a lot of confusion about what he might do, but he's definitely talking about spending more money. So the US dollar will continue to collapse. All fiat currencies are collapsing. And we're seeing a war on cash going on. We're seeing India. You were there when they canceled pretty much all the money that people had. They just said it's not worth anything anymore, which is pretty much what all fiat currencies really are worth. It's just worth the piece of paper it's printed on. It's just a piece of paper with a dead criminal printed on it. I think we'll look back on this in 10 or 20 or 30 years and just be amazed and marvel that people used to think that was money. And so we've seen now Venezuela, which we were just at in March of this year. They did the same thing. They just canceled all the largest notes, which are the 100 Bolivar note, which is actually only worth about 10 cents now, or actually 2 cents, I believe. It was 10 cents when we were there. They just canceled that. So this is a move to actually get rid of cash and get everyone into the banking system now that all the governments are so indebted that they have to move to negative interest rates. So once they move into negative interest rates, obviously a lot of people will just take their money out of the bank. It's like, why would I keep my money in a bank if I'm losing 2% a year just by keeping it there? So they're trying to get rid of cash now, and this is what's causing a massive demand for Bitcoin.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of moves made in India and Venezuela that many people are speculating this is the real reason why the Bitcoin prices are going up. There's been a lot of speculation, and I think Donald Trump is definitely the wild card here. We don't know exactly what he will do with Bitcoin or how he will handle Bitcoin, but as we know, currency is really just faith. You know, what makes a dollar worth something is the faith in the dollar and the usage of it. And the more people that have faith in Bitcoin, the more people that use Bitcoin, obviously the price will go up. Is this what you attribute to the recent surge in the price that has been happening?
Yeah, there's so many reasons for it to rise. I've been saying since 2011 was $3 that it could hit a high, or not, might never even be a high, but it could be as high as $1 million of Bitcoin in the next few years if all fiat currencies collapse, which is what I talk about at the Dollar Vigilante, which is why we're probably the largest financial newsletter in the world now, because we've been talking about this and warning people and getting people into gold, silver, and Bitcoin for years now. So there's many reasons why this is occurring at this moment in time. One reason, for example, is China has capital controls, and they allow each Chinese citizen or slave to take $50,000 outside of China every year. So usually on the first days of the year, everyone who has any money tries to get it out of China. But instead of going into things like other fiat currencies, which would be quite stupid, many Chinese, and you can just watch, you can go to fiatleak.com and watch how much money is flowing into Bitcoin from China right now. That's been, I think, the biggest spark in the last few weeks, because it's been up about 30 or 40% in the last couple of weeks. I think that's been the biggest reason, but there's no reason for it to stop at all. As you pointed out, it's all really demand and supply and a little bit of faith as well. And of course, the US dollar used to be tied to gold, and then they brought in the Federal Reserve in the horrible year of 1913 and brought in the Income Tax Act on the same year, and that's not a coincidence. And then the U.S. was essentially bankrupt by 1971, and that's when Richard Nixon took the gold backing completely away from the dollar, and it's been all downhill for the dollar since then. People say, oh, the dollar is up, but fiat currencies are never up. They're just up vis-a-vis other fiat currencies. Fiat government currencies are always being inflated. They're always going down in value. And so we're seeing just a lot of people waking up to what Bitcoin is. And as I mentioned, if we see these fiat currencies continue to collapse, and we absolutely will, you'll see more people going into Bitcoin. And because of that, governments and central banks around the world are absolutely panicking. And the beautiful thing about it is they can't stop it. They'd have to turn off the internet or turn off the power. And they actually do consider that. That's why there's things called the internet kill switch that they talk about all the time, because they're losing control of money. And when they lose control of money, they'll lose their power. And we'll actually go to a much more peaceful and prosperous time on Earth with no wars, and most people being much, much better off without the absolute rape of central bank inflation.
Very optimistic view. I definitely believe in that. But here in the United States, we're actually dealing with legal court cases, especially happening with Coinbase, with the United States trying to regulate it, trying to tax it. They're seeing all this money invested into this, and they're like, wait, hold on. We want some of this right here. And it's going to be interesting to see what's going to be happening with Donald Trump, how he's going to react to it. As we know, he just tweeted on November 20th that he has a good relationship with Chuck Schumer, and Chuck Schumer has been on a full all-out war against the dark web and cryptocurrencies and bitcoins, and there's been massive moves on regulations, but we're still seeing the price rise up, even with these court cases, even with Chuck Schumer going against Bitcoin. Where do you see everything going in the future and unfolding, especially with the kind of economic moves that Donald Trump is making right now?
Well, even before Donald Trump was elected, he made a lot of comments that the internet needs to be censored or shut down to some extent. He's said that many times. That is exactly what's happening. You brought up on your own show many times about the fake news, that's what the mainstream media is. That's what we've been saying for years. It's just propaganda and absolute fake news. But because people like yourself and so many others are actually getting out real information now, they're absolutely panicking. So that's why Barack Obama, the Nobel Peace Prize winner who's never had one day of peace in his entire presidency, put into the National Defense Authorization Act the essential fake news legislation, saying they're going to try to shut down anyone who's not saying what they're saying on CNN, which is absolute fake news. So they're losing control on every facet right now. This is going to be an amazing and unbelievable time. It's an amazing time in human history. They're losing all control of communication. People are actually able to get real information for probably the first time worldwide in human history. The money is now becoming totally not controllable or regulatable or seizable, or you can't shut it down. There is no Bitcoin office. There is no Bitcoin CEO to arrest. There is no Bitcoin office for them to come in with their usual SWAT teams and start destroying computers. It actually exists in the cloud. So this is actually an amazing time in human history, and a lot of people don't necessarily realize that yet. But this is an absolute war between the people who've been controlling this world for hundreds of years and everyone else, all of us, the 99.999%, and we're actually winning right now, and they're in all-out panic mode.
Total panic mode that we've seen the whole brunt of with Facebook and YouTube and Google just trying to hit us as hard as they can, and they have on some levels. But I share the optimism with you because literally, even scientifically speaking, we are living on the best time in recorded human history. We have some ninnies online crying and moaning and bitching like, it's horrible. No, it's actually an amazing, beautiful time, and we're going to celebrate that time, definitely at Anarchapulco, which to me, and again, I've been to many conferences. This is the best one, mainly because it's in Mexico, and I love Mexico, and I love the Mexican people and the culture there and the beach and the weather. It's fascinating. It's beautiful and amazing. But we're going to be celebrating that at Anarchapulco, a conference that you're putting together. Really amazing speakers, really amazing workshops that we're going to be doing there. We're going to be doing that workshop as well. What's the latest on Anarchapulco, and why should people go there?
Well, it's the first anarcho-capitalist conference in the world, started in 2015. We're now in our third year, coming up the end of February, the last week of February. And it's really just a meeting of all the biggest minds and activists in freedom out there. So all the Bitcoin sort of related people will be there. And of course, I said that's a huge, massive change. You've got people even trying to decentralize the internet, people like MadeSafe and stuff like that. And you've got people like Rick Falfing of the Pirate Party. He's actually got freedom fighters, anarchists, voluntarists, they're all the same word, all in parliament in places like Iceland. It's half anarchists now, freedom fighters. So people actually trying to free humanity. They're all coming to this event. We've got so many people. You've come to it every year, Luke, you know, and you actually run your Change Media University, which is great. You almost always sell that out, and people say great things about it if you want to learn how to create your own media so we can get rid of this mainstream fake news media. But all the top speakers in the freedom movements are going to be there. Larkin Rose, Jeffrey Tucker, Adam Kokesh, Lauren Southern of Rebel Media, Roger Ver, the Bitcoin Jesus. It just goes on, and it's all in the last week of February in Acapulco. And the tagline for the conference is evacuate the state, brave the future. And the whole concept is that in order to change things, you can't actually change the system that much. What you can do is create new systems that make the old system obsolete. So that's things like the internet, things like Bitcoin. And now we're seeing what happens when you have these things. You actually just make it so you don't have to shut down the Federal Reserve or protest or say, shut down the Federal Reserve. You basically just start using Bitcoin and just ignore the US dollar and the Federal Reserve and the US government, and they just go away automatically.
Exactly, because the solutions are within all of us. You're also going to be running an investment workshop also at Acapulco. I'm going to be running Change Media University, which is going to be like a life training, media, online, digital world kind of takeover, teaching people all my secrets of the trade to be online and have their voice heard. Jeff, anything else you want to say about the future of Bitcoin, Acapulco? Any last words?
Just like I said, this is a time of an amazing change. To be around the people who are making these changes is just so fulfilling and so enjoyable. And there's literally hundreds and hundreds, we might be up to 1,000 people this year at Acapulco, all trying to just change the system by changing themselves, as you pointed out, Luke. It's really about changing yourself and creating new systems that just make the old systems obsolete. We're in a time of incredible changes, incredibly optimistic, but as the old systems collapse, there's going to be a lot of craziness, a lot of chaos. But as long as you're informed and know what's going on, you can not only survive, but prosper through it through things like owning Bitcoin.
Nice, Jeff. Thank you so much. That's Jeff Berwick of the Dollar Vigilante. His information will be in the description below. And once again, thank you again so much for watching, and especially the people who invested in Bitcoin early on. You guys are a lot happier now. Hope we were able to explain to you why this jump happened and the future of Bitcoin in this video. If we did so, click the like button. Thank you again so much for watching.
How was the conference this year?
Absolutely fantastic.
It's an amazing experience.
The conference is great. It's the best thing I've ever been to, probably in my life, honestly.
It's a blast. It's really fun. There's so many things to do.
Just the spirit, just the energy, amazing moments, amazing people.
It's really, really fun.
It's better than you could expect.
I think it's the best conference I've ever been to.
Are you coming back next year?
I wish we were already at next year so I could come back. It was so much fun.
I feel like I'm part of a big family here.
I've made so many amazing friends, instant amazing friends.
It's incredible to be around people who are so evolved.
The best part is always the people.
It's almost overwhelming. Just so many amazing people in one place.
There's always the trailblazers, and a lot of them are here.
This is now a pillar of the global community of freedom activists.
I mean, I'm filled. I feel like a champagne glass. Bubbly, renewed, festive.
A lot of people always complain, where are the women? Yeah, in Acapulco, that's where they're at.
Everybody wants to be friends. Everybody just wants to learn more about each other and really get to know each other because we already have so much in common, so why not actually be friends?
If you want to be a part of it, come and experience it because you're not going to get this experience anywhere else.
You will grow as a person.
What would you say to people that are on the fence about coming here next year?
I would say that you absolutely have to come.
You only live life once, and you better come because you'll live to regret it if you don't.
Get rid of that limiting belief. Be free.
You won't regret it. You'll have like a really amazing memory, and it will be awesome.
A lot of people thought about it and were on the fence. And then when they see some of the footage later and they hear some of the stories, they start thinking, my God, why didn't I go to that?
Why the hell not? It's amazing. It's beautiful here. Come on down.
If you've been here once, you would never not come back. So I think if someone's never been and they're thinking of coming, to them I'd say, get your ass over here or you're going to be sorry. But if you've been here already, I'll see you here next year.